Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we've got a stack of research that, honestly, it really challenges the way a lot of us think about modern IT.
We are heading into the basement.
Literally. Well, maybe metaphorically. But we are talking about that hardware that lives in the dark, cold server rooms. The private cloud.
It's funny, because for the last decade, all the glamour, all the headlines, and frankly, all the budget has gone to public cloud.
AWS, Azure, Google Cloud.
Exactly. The private data center has been a bit like the uncool older sibling.
The one who's still buying physical CDs instead of streaming.
That's the one. But here's the twist. That uncool sibling is still costing companies a fortune, and a lot of the time, nobody knows exactly how much.
And that's where our main source comes in. We're unpacking a really fascinating article from Vertisant by John Thompson called Private Cloud Costs Are a Blind Spot. FinOps Can Fix It.
The premise is just so compelling. It's about taking the exact methodology that tamed public cloud spending FinOps and applying it where it's never really worked before.
Before we get into the how, though, I want to set the scene. I really want to paint a picture of the problem because I think a lot of leaders feel this pain, even if they don't have a name for it.
Ah, the tale of two reports.
That tale of two reports, exactly. So picture a CFO at a Fortune 500 company, first of the month. She sits down with her coffee, opens her email. Report A lands in her inbox. It's from the public cloud team.
And let me guess, it's beautiful.
It is a work of art. It's this dynamic dashboard. It's automated. It's granular. It's real time. She can see that, we spent exactly $42,300 on this instance type between 2 and 4 p.m. on Tuesday.
Right. It's standardized. It makes sense. It builds confidence.
Totally. That team is using tagging. They have anomaly detection. If spending spikes, they know why, like instantly.
That's the gold standard of IT visibility.
Then she opens report B. This one's from the private cloud team, the on-prem infrastructure. And what does she see?
A spreadsheet.
A spreadsheet.
Yeah.
And probably not even a live one. It's a PDF of a spreadsheet that Steve from IT maybe updated 3 days ago manually.
Oh, and that's where the panic starts to set in. Because Report B is vague. It's high level. It's full of lump sums.
And worst of all, the numbers just don't look anything like the numbers in Report A. It's apples and oranges.
So she has these two massive buckets of spending, but she's measuring them with completely different yardsticks.
That is the blind spot. And it's not just an annoyance. It's a huge strategic liability. You can't decide where to invest your next $1 million if you only have clear visibility into half your IT estate.
You're flying the plane with one eye closed.
So our mission today is to fix Report B, to see if we can get that private cloud visibility up to the same standard. And the stakes here, according to the source, are massive.
Yeah, this isn't just about making the spreadsheets match. It's about the bottom line. The source suggests that applying FinOps to private infrastructure can yield cost reductions of 20 to 30%.
20 to 30%. That is a huge number for a mature company.
It is. For a large enterprise, we're talking millions of dollars just by turning on the lights in the basement.
Okay, so let's get into the why. Why is this conversation happening now? For years, the narrative was just move everything to the cloud.
Kill the data center. Yeah.
Right. Why are we suddenly caring about optimizing the basement again?
Well, the irony is, the public cloud is the reason we're looking back at the basement. J.R. Storman, who's the executive director of the FinOps Foundation, has a great insight on this.
The FinOps Foundation, that's like the main governing body for this whole methodology, right?
Correct. They set the standards, and Storman points out that once business leaders get a taste of that real-time visibility from the public cloud, that Report A we talked about, they get addicted.
Well, yeah.
They start asking, wait a minute, if you can tell me what this microservice cost me in AWS down to the penny, why can't you tell me what that server rack in Texas is costing us?
So the public cloud team accidentally raised the bar for everyone else.
Precisely. It highlighted the disconnect. You have one team operating with agility and data, driving a Ferrari with a digital dashboard. And then the private cloud team is often stuck with these legacy procurement models.
Buying hardware every 3 to 5 years, managing it on spreadsheets.
Driving a diesel truck with a broken speedometer, it creates these massive silos. And silos are where money goes to die.
And the goal then is to break those down. The article uses a term I hear a lot, a single pane of glass.
It's a bit of a buzzword, yeah.
Usually means buy my software.
It often does, but the concept here is sound. It means a unified view where leaders can see every dollar spent, SaaS, public cloud, private infrastructure, all normalized into one format.
Before we try to build that pane of glass, we should probably define our terms. We'll keep saying FinOps. I think most people hear that and just think, accounting for tech.
That is the common misconception. They hear financial and they think budget cuts. They picture some person in a suit telling engineers to stop buying things.
No more lattes and no more servers.
Right. But FinOps is actually about value, not just cost. It's a cultural practice built on 3 pillars.
Okay, walk us through them.
So pillar 1 is visibility. Pretty straightforward. You have to know what you're spending. You can't manage what you can't see.
That's our report A versus report B problem.
Exactly. Pillar 2 is optimization. Are we getting the most out of those resources? Are we being efficient?
Makes sense.
And pillar 3 is the hard one. It's collaboration.
Collaboration. That feels like the soft skill part that always gets ignored.
It does, but it's the engine. There's a great quote in the source from Ali Whitman at the Walt Disney Company. She says, FinOps is about connecting business and finance folks to drive value. And she makes the point that this mindset applies to any offering, not just AWS or Azure.
So it's less about a specific tool and more about getting the engineer and the accountant to speak the same language.
Exactly. Dr. Manisha Asundi from Mr. Cooper calls the framework a set of guardrails. Right now, the private cloud team is speaking capital expenditure, or CapEx, and the public cloud team is speaking operating expense, OpEx.
Okay, let's pause there, because that distinction, CapEx versus OpEx, that seems to be the root of the whole problem, right?
It's everything.
It brings us to the core conflict. Can you just copy-paste the tactics from AWS directly onto your own data center?
Short answer, no, absolutely not. If you try, you will fail.
But why? If FinOps is just a mindset, why does the location of the server matter so much?
Because the economic physics are completely different. In the public cloud, you're in a variable cost model. It's a utility, like your electricity bill.
If I turn off the lights, the meter stops spinning. I save money instantly.
Precisely. If you shut down a server in AWS, your bill for the next hour is 0. You get that instant gratification. The private cloud, though, that's a fixed cost model. It's a sunk cost.
Right, because I already bought the server.
You spent $50,000 on that rack 2 years ago. That money is gone. If you turn that server off tonight,
I don't get a refund check.
you do not. You still own it. So the tactic of turn it off to save money just doesn't work the same way.
Okay, this is the aha moment for me, because I bet a lot of executives think, let's just optimize the private cloud and save cash next month. But you can't.
You can't.
So how do you save money?
This forces us to look at a concept called oversubscription.
Oversubscription. That sounds a little dangerous, like you're selling something you don't actually have.
It's exactly like selling something you don't have. The source uses this brilliant airline analogy.
Okay, break it down for me.
Airlines sell, say, 105 tickets for a plane that only has 100 seats. Why?
Because they know a few people will miss the flight. They're playing the odds.
They're playing the averages. Private clouds do the exact same thing with virtualization.
Can you just quickly define virtualization in this context?
Sure, so imagine you have one physical server, the actual metal box. It has, say, 32 physical CPUs. That's the hard limit. But with software, IT can slice that server up into many virtual machines. And they might hand out a total of 64 virtual CPUs to different teams.
Whoa. So they've promised double the power they actually own.
Yes, because they are betting that Team A and Team B won't run their applications at 100% at the exact same moment.
So this leads to what you call the optimization paradox.
The paradox, right. This is the hardest thing for finance to grasp. In the public cloud, if you right-size a machine, shrink it from 16 CPUs down to 8 because it was too big, your bill goes down immediately.
Instant saving.
Instant cash. In the private cloud, if you shrink that same virtual machine, your bill stays flat. You still own the big server underneath it all.
So why would an engineer bother doing that if it doesn't change the budget?
That is the million-dollar question. The savings in private cloud aren't about getting cash back today. It's about cost avoidance for tomorrow.
Cost avoidance.
By optimizing that workload now, you free up space on that physical server. That means you can put a new workload on it next month without having to buy a new physical server.
I see. So you're delaying the next big CapEx purchase. You're kicking that $50,000 can down the road by another year.
Exactly. And that is real money. But it's future money, not current money. Translating FinOps to private cloud means shifting your thinking from cutting OpEx now to avoiding CapEx later.
That is such a subtle but massive difference. If your CFO is looking for immediate cuts, they're going to be disappointed.
But if they're looking at the long-term roadmap, this is gold. This is why so many organizations get stuck. They try to apply the instant gratification model of public cloud to the long-term investment of private cloud, and the math just breaks.
So, okay, we know the theory, the economics are different, but how do we actually do this? The article outlines 3 strategies. How do we build that single pane of glass?
Strategy 1 is a heavy lift, technically. It's unified visibility. You have to burn the spreadsheets.
Easier said than done.
Much easier. This means using automation to pull data from your monitoring tools and, crucially, your CMDB.
Oh, the CMDB, the Configuration Management Database.
Yeah.
Aren't those notoriously messy?
They're often the junk drawers of IT, out of date, full of errors. But for this to work, your CMDB has to be the source of truth. You need to automate data collection.
So no more Steve from IT typing in numbers on a Friday afternoon.
No more Steve. The goal is to make the data structure for private cloud mirror the public cloud. If you use cost center tags in AWS, you need cost center tags in your on-prem world, apples to apples.
Okay, so clean up the data. Strategy 2.
Adapting optimization. This goes back to our airline analogy.
Yeah.
You have to really understand the utilization patterns of your hardware to know how much you can safely oversubscribe.
You need to know how often passengers actually miss the flight.
Exactly. If you oversubscribe too much, you're bumping passengers, or in this case, crashing applications because the server runs out of memory. If you don't oversubscribe enough, you're flying with empty seats, wasting money.
The source mentioned a big name here, didn't it?
It did. Meta.
As in Facebook.
Yep. They're a prime example. Think about their scale. They have massive private data centers. If they can improve server utilization by just a few %, that's tens of millions of dollars in hardware they don't have to buy.
Right. At that scale, efficiency isn't a nice to have. It's essential for survival.
And they do it by rigorously analyzing those workload patterns and packing them tighter, like Tetris blocks.
Okay, strategy 3. This feels like it circles back to the human element.
It's culture and accountability, and it might be the most important one. Brian Valco from Exosphere is quoted, and he says the heart of FinOps is the inform pillar.
Inform. Just telling people what things cost.
It sounds so simple, but it changes everything. In the old model, an engineer requests a server, IT buys it, and the engineer never sees a price tag. To them, infrastructure is basically free.
It's like an open bar at a wedding. You don't care what the drink costs because you aren't paying the final bill.
Perfect analogy. FinOps closes the tab. It provides a showback report. It says, hey, this specific application you run is costing the company X amount of money.
Wait, showback. Is that different from chargeback?
Good catch.
Yeah.
It is. Chargeback is when you actually deduct the money from their department's budget. That's the advanced level. Showback is just the first step, just showing them the bill. And even that alone drives huge behavior changes.
Because suddenly I, as an engineer, realize, wow, my sloppy code is costing the company 10 grand a month in hardware.
Precisely. And that creates a feedback loop. Instead of just building for speed, they start building for efficiency. They become cost aware.
It empowers them to police themselves instead of having the CFO come down and yell at them.
It just turns the lights on. And once the lights are on, most people naturally want to stop wasting things.
So let's fast forward. A company does all this. They burn the spreadsheets, they clean the CMDB, they show the engineers the bill. What does success actually look like?
Let's go back to Sarah, our CFO.
Is she still stressed out?
She's much happier. She gets that one unified dashboard. She sees the total cost of ownership, the TCO for all of IT. She can look at a business unit and say, okay, marketing's total IT spend is $500K. $300K of that is in AWS. $200K is on-prem.
That clarity must be incredibly powerful.
It allows for actual strategy. And the industry is moving this way fast. The 2025 State of FinOps report shows that managing costs beyond public cloud jumped 5 places in priority.
5 places in 1 year. That's a massive jump.
It's a rocket ship. It signals that the market is maturing. We're moving out of that Wild West phase of cloud where we just swipe the credit card and didn't ask questions.
It feels like we're entering the adult phase of the cloud. It's not just move fast and break things anymore. It's move fast and pay attention to the bill.
Move fast and be accountable. I like that.
What strikes me about all this is how it reframes the private cloud. For a long time, it felt like the black sheep, the dusty legacy stuff we were all trying to get rid of.
It did. But FinOps actually brings it back into the fold. It gives the private cloud a seat at the cool kids table.
And this brings me to a final thought. It's not explicitly in the article, but it's hinted at. It's a bit of a provocation.
Go for it.
We talked about perpetual ownership versus subscriptions. Private cloud is owning a house. Public cloud is renting a luxury apartment.
Right. Renting is flexible, but it can get really expensive over the long haul.
Exactly. For the last 10 years, everyone rushed to rent because it was easier. But as FinOps finally brings real transparency to private cloud costs, I wonder if we're going to see a resurgence in on-premise.
The repatriation trend, moving workloads back.
Exactly. If you have the FinOps data to prove, hey, this stable workload is costing us a fortune in rent on AWS, if we moved it back to our basement, we'd save 40%. Suddenly, the basement starts looking pretty attractive again.
I think you're spot on. Transparency allows for an honest comparison, and sometimes buying the house is the smarter financial move. But you can't make that call if you don't even know the price of the house.
We might be coming full circle. The basement might be the next big innovation hub, simply because it's cheaper.
But only if you treat it with the same discipline as the cloud.
There you have it. We've gone from blind spots and manual spreadsheets to a unified, accountable IT structure. Turns out the basement isn't just for storage anymore.
It might be where the next big efficiency win is hiding. You just have to turn the lights on to see it.
I love that. Thanks so much for breaking this down with us today.
My pleasure.
And to you, listening, take a look at your own organization. Are you looking at a unified dashboard, or are you still squinting at a spreadsheet from Steve in IT? It might be time to ask, what's lurking in your basement? Thanks for listening to the Deep Dive. We'll see you next time.